I can't believe I have to make a Captain Marvel video again because of the complete and utter shenanigans that's happening right now. Rotten Tomatoes has apparently, it looks like it, purged about 54,000 reviews from their audience score. Now, this is important for a few reasons. In my earlier video this morning, I talked about how there was very likely some people who didn't see the movie who were commenting on it. The distinction I make between that and review bombing is that the idea of a review bomb is you're insinuating a campaign, when in reality it's people who just don't like your movie and don't like the marketing and the character around it. But I am apparently proven right in the capacity that the movie was still bad. Now, I thought the swing was going to be like 10 or 20 points, but apparently Rotten Tomatoes has purged 54,000 reviews, and the score only went up by about 4 points. Now, let's break down some of the nuance here. First, this is my old video. You can barely see it. It's crappy quality, but it says 58,365, 32%. That was from this morning, and when you check it now, 4,296 audience score user ratings. There's so many important points we got to bring up here. First, even on movies like The Last Jedi, where people really hated it, the audience score, I don't believe The Last Jedi ever got this bad. It was like in the high 40s or something. The point is, if the movie was really good and it was trolls trying to ruin the score, it would not be this low. And after they seemingly removed 54,000 reviews, which I'm presuming were fake, what do we have? A 4-point increase. So I decided I looked through a bunch of the critics' reviews, and I found for the most part, because I said this earlier on, that you can't really tell why they would give it a fresh or a rotten rating. And I'll just go through this quickly, but it looks like for the most part, I've gone through 5 pages and I've seen they'll kind of make sense. I did see a few that were rated rotten for some reason. I don't know why, when they were clearly positive. But I want to take a look now really quickly before we move on to the bigger and more important point, which is Metacritic. These are the remaining audience reviews, and they're the ones that I pointed out earlier that seem to be legit. There's people who make direct references to things that happened in the movie, which means they very likely did watch the movie. Now, of course, you're going to see people say it's one of the best. Excellent performance by Samuel Jackson. I'm going to say this. If Rotten Tomatoes removed 54,000 reviews because it had 58,000, I think it's fair to say they purged, they used an algorithm to get rid of everything that seemed to be bots or fake. That's mind-blowing to me. If 54,000 reviews were fake, wow. I still don't like the idea of how the media frames it as a review bomb because, again, that's a claim that somewhere someone's organizing this, when in reality it is a swarm of bees, wasps, just doing their thing. However, that does show us that they did not have a big impact on the score anyway. They didn't really do anything. So here's what's crazy is those 54,000, were they not giving it zeros or 1 star or half star? How is it that it's got a rating of 36% after they purged all of the seemingly fake accounts? I'm going to say this. This is all an assumption. I don't know who they purged or why. What I can say is when I go into the scores, it looks like the remaining reviews from the audience are absolutely legit. There's 27 pages. Maybe, look, I'll say this too, because it seems really crazy that it used to say 58,000 user ratings and now it says 4,000 and the scores barely moved. But maybe their original number was wrong, because I don't want to be conspiratorial, but that's crazy. That's a huge difference. I didn't believe it when I heard it. But there is a much more important point here, and that's Metacritic. So over on the Metacritic page for Captain Marvel, it's sitting at a 65 among the critics. Metacritic, in my opinion, is a much better metric than Rotten Tomatoes for a few reasons. Rotten Tomatoes can be subjected to brigading. And again, I'm not saying, like a review bomb that's coordinated. Like we saw some articles saying that, trolls and 4chan were coordinating this. That's not true. It's just self-organizing. But here's the thing. Oh, interesting. It's the #1 shared movie of 2019. Here's the thing. Look at the critics. You've got 30 positive, 20 mixed, and 1 negative. The 1 negative was the New York Post. But look at the user ratings on Metacritic. 126 positive, 55 mixed, 482 negative. Metacritic is not typically subjected to brigading. No one really pays attention to Metacritic the way they pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes has like a major monopoly. Here's where it gets crazy. When you actually go to the user ratings, we can see, did it go up actually? 482. Okay, let's refresh. Let's see what happens. 471 negative, now 495 negative. But here's the thing. What's very different from this and Rotten Tomatoes is, for one, nearly 60,000 negative reviews, and they purged most of them. Maybe it was just a reporting error. Maybe the number was wrong or something happened. I don't know. It's possible. Let's say this for now. Maybe Rotten Tomatoes had some kind of error and the score hasn't changed that much. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions. What I do want to say, though, when you go to Metacritic, these all look absolutely legitimate. So you've got all of these negative reviews for the movie, and this is what blows my mind, because I did not expect a 36%, nor did I expect a 27%. It's 2.7 out of 10, so 27% from the users on Metacritic. I didn't expect that. Even The Last Jedi got a higher score than that. But I started looking through these. These people who are commenting on it, it sounds like they've actually seen the movie. This isn't the same as what we saw some reviews on Rotten Tomatoes where it looked like people were putting things like feminism bad, thumbs down. It's like, okay, did you really watch the movie? Some of these look like they might be generic, but I gotta say, like, some of these reviews, like, come on, dude. This is not a movie here from somebody who is faking it. At least in my opinion. It could be an elaborate hoax. They're really trying to slam this movie. But when you read through this, it looks like they actually understand certain key points of the movies, certain things they didn't like about it, and they wrote out a huge review about their problems with the movie. Moving down, we can see even the mixed review, the 5. This one is really simple, and they said that Brie Larson looked like a block of cheese. And this is not a... So the reason why, even though this is lower, I'd be more inclined to believe it's legit is because they didn't slam the movie. They gave it a 5. Now, some people understand you don't give, always bad reviews, but to me, I lean towards a lot of these looking like they're legit. I mean, let's just read this one and see if we can determine whether or not this is real or fake. I wasn't planning on seeing the movie after all the trailers and director saying it's a feminist film, but went and saw it after I lost a bid. It was so boring that my friend left the theater and left me in the movie. Spoiler free, the acting is very bland and bad. Brie Larson doesn't know what emotion to emote. It was so bad that I really didn't feel any scene worse yet. I didn't know what to feel, as she always smirking, even when the situation is serious and doesn't call for it. Although some supporting actors like Samuel L. Jackson was okayish and kinda enjoyable, given that the script was bad as hell. The story is unfocused and so convoluted. The main villain is bland and weak, which make the final showdown so underwhelming. The story is filled with plot holes and unnecessary drama. Fighting scenes are one of the worst I have ever seen. It's a disaster. The script is pure S, trying way too hard to sound serious all the time. The direction and editing, oh my god, let's just say no one is winning any Oscar anytime soon. The visual effects and editing, oh my god. There's spoilers in there. I'm going to stop there. There's a really, oh my god. I read the plot synopsis on Wikipedia. When I heard how Nick Fury lost his eye, I swear to God, what the fuck were they thinking? Oh my God. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. I don't want to spoil it. You can go look if you want, but my God, Nick Fury, the way he loses his eye, it is totally disrespectful to the character. It's meant to be a joke and make him seem more deceitful. I have no idea, but it is so stupid. Now look, I lean towards thinking some of these are probably not legitimate. I went in this movie expecting something aggressively average. I was disappointed. I'll give this movie 2.5 and a prayer that it isn't a death knell to the MCU. It's not a very specific. Some of these are a bit more, right? Someone mentions House of M, and it seems like they might actually understand a little bit about what's going on. Worst Marvel movie ever. I would say this. Metacritic, in my opinion, a lot of them do look like they might not be legitimate. But Metacritic isn't being, people aren't, all these articles that are popping up are talking about Rotten Tomatoes are not talking about Metacritic. And some of these reviews are actually fairly long. So it seems like the people who are slamming the movie, and I'll say this in another thing too, a lot of the reviews, even the ones that are kind of short here over on Metacritic, they hit some points that some of the main critics did get to. So I can't allege there's a conspiracy. Calling it cookie cutter. I mean, come on, look at this. The story is generic. Brie Larson's acting is atrocious. The villains have the makeup level of network television. The cat isn't the show-stealing event the media keeps pretending it is. Honestly, there is no reason to trust the critics anymore. Sci-Fi Wire admitted on a podcast recently that they and everyone else will look the other way and throw softballs at certain movies to keep getting access to early screenings. I don't want to allege a conspiracy because here's the simple solution. If I read a user review and they bring up points that a ton of other mainstream critics have brought up, like trustworthy sources who you can clearly tell saw the movie, I'm not going to assume they read the critics and then copied them and slammed the movie. That's not the simple solution. The simple solution is someone saw the movie and didn't like it. Not only that, but you can read the plot synopsis on Wikipedia. It's just easier to believe that a lot of these people actually saw the movie and then didn't like it. But I will say this, for the zeros, I'm less trusting, right? And that's because probably people who want to smear the movie are just going to give it a 0. But okay, ultimately, I'm going to wrap up here because I'm like, here's the main point. For some reason, 54,000 user ratings are gone. I don't want to jump the gun and shriek conspiracy. I don't want to claim that Rotten Tomatoes is trying to delete bad reviews, but I don't know what else you can assume. Did their system accidentally have the wrong number there? The simple solution would be that because of the press around brigading, Rotten Tomatoes purged 54,000 negative reviews, bumping the score up to 36%. But if that's the case, if the case is that even after they've gotten rid of a ton of reviews, it's still a 36, goddamn, this leaves me worried. And I want to point out, too, that the official Metacritic for the critics themselves is only a 6.5, better than Thor Dark World, for sure, but there is a massive backlash going on. I'm going to give it a few more days. I'm going to wait till opening weekend. I think it's going to make money, absolutely, but we'll see. Long story short, this is weird. I don't know why this happened. It'll be interesting to see what their statement is. Stick around. I've got another video coming up in a few minutes.